How do you keep from a New Zealand market, how do you keep your finger on the pulse specifically in terms of what's been tested and tried globally?
I suppose I don't actually think of myself as a New Zealand. I think of myself as a New Zealand company, but I don't think of ourselves as working in New Zealand. So I think of us as a global company that happens to be in New Zealand, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally that makes sense.
And I just in the same way I think of myself as a New Zealander, but I'm a global citizen.
Yep.
I think it's kind of way more fun.
But
you know from your travel.
But it changes the lens of how you look at everything. Yep, yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah, and I mean, luckily for me, I suppose my industry is so global. It's not, New Zealand and local. It's very, very global. So everything that I follow, it could be, cool stuff they're doing. And the other big thing I'm playing in myself at the moment is the whole kind of Asian market. In terms of, because we picked up a really cool client last year, the entire APAC business for Microsoft Internet of Things. Fun.
Wow.
Really cool. And, up against some really big Australian-based companies. Really cool. So we're looking after all of Asia Pacific. So that's China, India.
Crazy.
Korea, which is Korea, Internet of Things. I didn't realize how big it is there. It's huge. So, we've got, Korean people on staff and I'm learning about all these platforms I've never heard of.
I think Samsung has a bank over there.
I'm just not surprised. And Japan.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Japan's just, I heard the other day, I think it was at CES that, is it Toyota? Is like literally building like a smart city at the base of Mount Fuji. Like, shut up, that's amazing.
Well, if Akon's building a city in Africa, surely flipping Toyota can build a city in Japan.
And yeah, it's all sorts of kind of crazy fun stuff happening.
So, how, usually when it comes to, like when I was a kid, the Oprah show would be a year late after it was in America.
Oh my gosh, yes, yeah.
Right? I'd see at the end of the show in the credits or something, it would have like 96, and you're like, wait a second, that was like last year. What's going on? New Zealand's always seemed to be in many things a little bit behind in terms of, I don't think education or awareness, but actually the execution side. Do you 100%. Think the gap is clearly getting closer and closer and closer for content seems to be, same day worldwide for things like, Game of Thrones, obviously New York time, we actually kind of get it a bit earlier depending on how they do it there. But how much has technology enabled the nation to actually play catch up and potentially lead in terms of, consumption of either content media or different ways of thinking?
Oh, phenomenally. I just think it's just been such a boost for New Zealand, that technology. I mean, we're so, on a map disconnected from the world, but through, the internet and technology, we're completely connected. We're talking to people all around the world all the time, every day, and it's so easy to do now. It's just, I was just laughing to some friends on WhatsApp because I'm terrible at like time zones. I get it wrong every single time. I was supposed to register for this big conference. I'm like, I thought it was 10, and they're like, no, it's 3. And I was like, oh, just so confused. So things like, in terms of getting content out, I think speed has been the biggest thing that we've seen. And as you say, real-time stuff, especially in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
We're all binge watching TV in real time. Post with fashion, if you see something, you can get it the next day. It's faster to get it from Amazon than it is to get it from Whitcoulls.
Crazy.
But the thing I think is going to be really cool in terms of content in the next couple of years is probably all the massive big jumps that we're seeing in like translation.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's some really awesome tech. I mean, you travel quite a bit. You know how you go there now and you've got your Google Translate or whatever your app is, and you just go da-da-da and it goes out and it says whatever you said, it turns it into Cantonese or whatever it needs to.
Yep.
That there, I think it's still or the Babelfish kind of thing. It's still at the beginning now.
Voice.
But I think, give it a couple of years and I think we're going to be able to have really cool, smart conversations with people from all different languages.
Well, tech's just opening up the door way more for... It's always interesting. Music and sport has always been two that, regardless, even if you can't speak the same language, has always been able to connect people, right?
Yeah.
And do you think this next wave of... Because I've been thinking about the real-world implications of 5G with what it will do. So say even real-time translation with little AirPods.
Yeah,
for different... It's starting, amazing. But it's like this...
But it's baby now. We're at first gen. But see that in 5 years' time, I think it'll be...
We're Voice 1.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be... I think that's probably the biggest trend or biggest impactful thing that I think we're going to see. And it's kind of like, as someone who's terrible even at English. I'm so bad. And I've got all these amazing friends who are like so multilingual, and half my team, speak 10 different languages. And I'm just like, I'm so jealous. And I've tried and I'm terrible, but I'm like, I'm sure I'm going to get better with this technology coming through.